Hey guys, it's Angelo, and today I will be running a +19 Mists of Tirna Scithe, in time of course, running the Psychic Link build. I wanted to share some higher level Keystone gameplay with you guys and add some commentary along the way. Now, in this dungeon, I'm specifically running Fortress of the Mind, Body and Soul, Misery, Psychic Horror, Psychic Link, Void Torrent, and Hungering Void. I'm also using Nia as my Night-Phase Soulbind, playing with 2 Potency Conduits, Haunting Apparitions and Dissonant Echoes. As you can see, our comp is far away from being a meta comp, but keys on this level can definitely still be timed easily with a bit of communication. Now, reflecting on this key, I would have been much better off running a Searing Nightmare build specifically here, but you'll get that in my next Mythic Plus video where I play a +19 Halls of Atonement. Apart from that, if you want to join the discussion with anything Priest or World of Warcraft related, be sure to join my Discord server, and be sure to catch me live on Twitch every Wednesday, Thursday and Sunday, with both links in the description box below for you. This video will be with commentary, so I'll basically be speaking live in the context of the video. If you want to pause any section of the video, you can do so at your own discretion. I won't pause during the run as to not take up too much extra time. Now, with that being said, and without any further ado, let's go right ahead and have a look. Okay, so again, right off the bat, we do not have the best meta comp here to do this dungeon, but we still time it anyways. On pull here, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to use my Power Infusion because I believe that this pack would have lived a bit longer than it actually did. This was actually quite a big mistake. I should not have used Power Infusion here because I will not have it ready for the next important pack where it would have had much more relevance. Now, ultimately, no big deal though. The reason why I'm not using my Soul Letting Ruby here, by the way, is because I actually don't have it equipped. Just in case you're wondering, I'm running the Cabalist's Hymnal as well as the Gladiator Trinket on item level 220. Now, as you can see by the damage numbers, the pull doesn't really go in the favor of Psychic Link here as much as I would have loved it to, and I'm a little bit behind on damage here. I kind of catch up a little bit here, but it would have been much better running a Searing Nightmare build specifically for this trash pack, but we will get to Psychic Link's strengths soon, right? So, I continue doing damage here. Psychic Link is nice here to get this extra add down just a little bit. This big Tirnam villager lives for quite a long time, unfortunately. That is just the way it is on Fortified. It takes really long to kill. We have to get it down to 20% of health, which we pretty much do now here. We just destroy the overgrowths and we continue nuking down this ad. Now we will continue here and we will, or rather I will Mind Soothe this ad here. The monk is also going to Ring of Peace them and we will just move past them. Now we are going to wipe here for the first time. I believe this may be the only time we actually wipe. But yeah, we kind of misplayed here. I definitely misplayed. I should have interrupted earlier. So what I'll be doing here is I'm going to start getting into my Void form here pretty soon. Going to go ahead and Fey Guardians here very soon as well, I believe. And I'm going to interrupt here now. And I'm also going to stun in a couple of moments here, while continue doing a bit of damage. Tank is getting a beating here, unfortunately. We are lacking quite a few interrupts, which is why our Paladin Healer and our Monk died. I will continue doing damage after a Mind Soothe so that they can both run past here. Tank's getting a serious beating, he is going to be running away. Power Infusion is ready, I'm going to continue doing damage here, but we actually wipe. So fortunately for me, I did not use any cooldowns, or rather I didn't use my Power Infusion. The damage was fine, but yeah, again, we did wipe here because we kind of misplayed. We could have played this much better. I will continue running back here, of course. I will Mind Soothe them again, just to get back on track. I believe we killed one of the ads. If we actually even did, I'm not even entirely sure. I cannot see any ad on the ground. We may not have killed anything here. Pretty sure we did though, because it's typically 5, I believe. I'm getting into position here to res the Guardian Druid, and I'm also going to start resing the Warrior, but the Paladin is going to probably res him before me, pretty sure. So I actually go ahead and I get ready for the pull. Now, I was contemplating to Mind Soothe and open up the gate, but I don't know why I decided not to do this. I will just continue doing damage here. We're pretty much ready, we're pulling here, and we move forward. Now again here, I'm going to Power Infuse, Void Erupt, Fey Guardians, and I'll pretty much go to town here. I don't really need Insanity at the moment, so I can just play my regular rotation. I don't really have to use my Void Torrent here. I could have most likely used the Void Torrent just to have a bit more Insanity, but all in all, it's okay. I deal damage here. We kill these. I'm a little bit late on opening up, but the tank actually beats me to it, so he'll do it for me. What we typically do here is we'll have one player open up this gate before we even kill the ads, so that we can immediately grab the buff and then just keep running, right? Right, we keep moving here. We run up to these to the double pack here. Now, I'm pretty sure we did not want to proc both of these bow breakers together, because if you get them low together, they will both actually do their AoE damage, which deals a ton of damage, especially so on fortified weeks. Now, a trick here to move out of the brambles is to pre-move. Actually, it's not that relevant because it doesn't deal that much damage, but as you can see here, that is exactly what I did. Also, Psychic Link is very powerful here, even without any cooldowns, but I do actually Void Form here nonetheless. The reason I Void Form here is because we will be getting a Prideful to spawn very soon, which means I will have Void Form back ready for once the boss spawns. Relatively simple pull here. I'm pretty much going to go ahead and Fey Guardians here. And we will pretty much just nuke them down. We were able to counter both of the AoE damages, and we are good. Prideful is going to spawn, we'll nuke the Prideful down as quickly as possible, and we will go right into the boss. Typically what I do for Prideful, I don't have it ready here because I had to use it for the bow breakers, but what I would typically do is I would use my Vampiric Touch at 10 stacks of the Prideful debuff, or buff rather, in order to counter the incoming damage and help the healer out. No need here really, the Paladin is using wings and is just taking care of this himself. I'm not going to be using any cooldowns here really, apart from, of course, the Fey Guardians that I did use. Gonna be sure not to die here. I'm actually gonna literally heal myself, because it makes much more sense not to die here rather than just dealing damage, because the Prideful is dead either way. Here we go. Boss is being pulled. I immediately start on the Droman. I go ahead and I Void Torrent here right away. I do not want to use any cooldowns here, because I need the cooldowns for the damage amp phase basically, where the Droman, or rather where Ingra Malok takes more damage. I am going to Void Erupt here, because we actually talked about it on comms, I remember this, and we wanted to get the Droman down as quickly as possible. So what I actually thought I would have played this better, but I actually didn't. What I thought was, I will have Void Form ready for Ingra if I use it delayed enough to have it ready so that it'll be ready for whenever, you know, Ingra gets the damage buff. It ultimately doesn't matter, I'm still able to deal a ton of damage, but I am missing the 12% extra damage that I could have dealt if I would have had Void Form ready, of course, right? I will continue doing a bit of damage onto Ingra here, just because he is not in the Forced Compliance mode, so he doesn't get the damage shield quite yet. I interrupt the Spirit Bolt, I continue dealing damage here just for a little bit longer, Forced Compliance happens, and I target switch onto Droman. Very unfortunate, I have to move because of the Tears of the Forest coming in, but I will just continue playing. Another Spirit Bolt, I cannot kick this one. Now I'm contemplating to go into Void Eruption here, or rather into Void from here, because I feel as if Ingra is going to be dead here soon anyways. So I get Fear though, which is why I don't do it actually. I disperse just in case, get that Mind Blast out, I'm going to Mind Flay this down, and I'm pretty much getting ready to Void Erupt here now. Get this Mind Blast out and Void Erupt. Here we go, let's deal a bit of damage onto the boss. He'll pretty much die after this. He's not entirely dead, but we do decide to just nuke him down completely. We don't care about anything else. Right, we'll just push him dead. Boss is basically dead at this point, nothing really to do. I'll start running towards the door here. Now, for the maze, what we typically do is we will have our Paladin check all of the maze corners, check all of the symbols, and just open the doors himself. We typically do not do anything with those. He will do this completely by himself so that we can all deal damage. I go ahead and activate the spawn point here, and we go ahead and do a big boy pull. I'll pretty much dot up everything here before I go ahead and power infuse and then get ready to deal damage. Now this is a decent pack for Psychic Link. There are much better packs, needless to say, of course, but this is not a bad pack at all. I Void Erupted here, and I go ahead and I Mind Blast. And I basically just deal as much damage as I can. I have to redot here a couple of times. I should have definitely timed that Void form better here. Or rather, I should have basically timed everything better here. Because I'm gonna Void Erupt here now. Gonna Devouring Plague, of course, Void Bolt, and Mind Blast. If I would have timed my cooldowns a little bit better here, definitely I would have done more damage. You will be able to tell by the end of this dungeon. As I said at the start of this video, I do regret actually playing the Psychic Link build here. I would have actually dealt more damage with the Searing Nightmare build solely because most of these ads actually die very quickly. I expected them not to. I really expected the Psychic Link build to actually carry this dungeon, especially because it's fortified. But I was slightly mistaken, right? We all make mistakes. No problem at all. Another decent Psychic Link pack, definitely so. I kind of helped the Paladin here, but again, the Paladin tells me I don't have to worry about it. So that's exactly what I do. I don't worry about it. And I'll just keep playing here. As you can pretty much tell, most of these ads die so insanely fast that it's very difficult to genuinely build up any damage with Psychic Link. You will see this trend pretty much throughout the rest of the dungeon, just because unfortunately it is what it is. And again, it is hard actually getting the damage built up and having to redot constantly, right? As you can see here, I've already let the dots drop off of the Mist of Veil Defender, but I have to reapply them and I keep going. I'm checking my conduits here really quick just because I wasn't sure if I was playing with Mind Devourer or with Haunting Apparitions, so I actually had to make sure again. Next pack here. I dot them all up, as always, get right into Void form. Now, I missed one Void Bolt, or rather one Mind Blast that I could have used, but it's ultimately not that big of a deal. And I continue going. Apply my Devouring Plague, Mind Blast one more time, and go ahead and get ready for the Manifestation of Pride. Smooth dodge. I have my Vampiric Embrace ready. I'm not sure if I'll be using it here because I remember the Paladin saying on comms that he has cooldowns for this, so I shouldn't worry. We actually don't really drop that low either way. The Warrior dies because he actually gets hit by something. He doesn't die because he's not healed. He actually just got hit and he gets basically one shot here. I am going to go ahead and Vampiric Embrace just to be sure. And I'll try my best to get this ad down as quickly as possible to make life for our Paladin healer as easy as possible. It's going good so far. I'm pretty sure I actually already used the health potion here. And we're good and we can keep going. The Paladin's already done the maze for us because he's a good gamer. I'm going to heal myself a little bit to make the Grievous stacks easier on him. And I keep going. I'm going to Void Erupt here immediately. Again, I'm going to skip that Mind Blast because I really want to make sure to maximize the actual Psychic Link damage output here. Another Void Bolt. And fortunately a Dark Thoughts proc. This is a good Psychic Link pack, as you can see. Can actually deal decent damage here. And we're good. Warrior beat me on damage, but apart from that, this was a good pull. Now obviously these single target pulls are really bad for Psychic Link because single target is basically where Psychic Link is effectively a dead talent. I'm gonna power infuse here because I know for a fact we will be having another trash pack coming and I don't want to hold on to my power infusion for too long because that is never really a good idea. Simple ad here really, all we have to do is basically dodge. The frog is pretty simple to dodge. I believe the frog is going to mess me up during one of my Void Torrent casts, or one cast in general. I can't remember which cast it was, but I actually had to move. Which was kind of unfortunate, but I mean it is what it is, right? We'll keep playing here. And this frog is essentially the easiest one to play out of these mini bosses, because all you really have to do is dodge the jumps. The tank needs to dodge the tongue, and that's literally it. That's all you really have to do here, right? There we go, he's dead. We keep going. We have one last trash pack. I have Void Form ready for this, so I'm going to dot up everything here as quickly as I can, and then I'm going to go ahead and Void Erupt, I'm pretty sure. Get that Mind Blast out, Void Form to get as much insanity as possible, and Void Erupt. Here we go, can get a Mind Blast into that window. I thought I could get that Mind Blast into the Talbot's window, but it turns out I was not able to. The exact same thing happened with that second Void Bolt as well. This one, or rather Mind Blast, this one I am getting into the Talbot's window quite easily. Another Void Bolt, another Mind Blast into the Talbot's, and here we go, we dropped. I'm gonna Mind Blast this one more time before I Void Torrent. And as you can tell, Psychic Link deals quite competitive damage, especially on trash packs like these. On trash packs where the ads live comparatively long, and where Psychic Link is able to deal a ton of damage, it's actually really good. Mind you, Searing Nightmare would have arguably been the better option, but it's not bad at all. I'm gonna Power Infuse here as well as Fake Guardians, because I was of the assumption that the Paladin does not have his cooldowns up. It doesn't seem like he did, which is another good reason to actually use cooldowns here to get this ad down as quickly as possible. And I know that the monk didn't have anything ready, so I actually decided to use my cooldowns. Ultimately, using cooldowns here was a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and use my Vampiric Embrace, a little bit delayed. I'm not going to Shadow Word Death here yet, until I know for a fact that the ad is dead, so at the very end. And here we go. I'm going to heal up here really quick. Just a little bit to help the Paladin with the Grievous, because I know a couple of our players are low. And here we pretty much just play the boss to the best of our ability. Now this boss is typically, I mean for me personally I would say, this is the easiest boss in the dungeon to a certain extent, but this is also the hardest boss to a certain extent. As long as you can dodge all of the mechanics and play all of the mechanics properly, this boss is pretty much incredibly easy. It doesn't really matter which affixes you're on, if you're on Tyrannical or if you are on Fortified, this boss is genuinely an easy boss as long as you can play the mechanics. If you cannot play the mechanics properly, this boss becomes most likely, by quite a landslide, the most difficult boss in this dungeon. Obviously for us, dealing with these Vulpins is absolutely no problem at all. We just dodge the dodge balls as well. We deal damage to the boss as much as we can. Mind you, this is a fortified week, so the boss is going to be easy either way. Doesn't really matter what we do. Mists of Tirna Scithe is typically one of the easier high-level dungeons, and the bosses are, especially during a fortified week, quite simple. Now a trick to keep in mind here, if you're playing with the Death and Madness, you can actually Shadow Word Death the Vulpins right before they despawn, and you actually gain the Death and Madness proc. Since I'm not playing it, I cannot really show you, but this works every time. Just give it like 6 to 7 seconds after the Vulpin is spawned. It doesn't matter if it's in any form of crowd control. Just give it a couple of seconds, execute it, and it'll despawn after like a second or two, and you'll get the actual Death and Madness proc, which is really nice. As you can see, this boss is just, this is just completely free here for us. It really doesn't do anything. All you need to do is play the mechanics and deal with the Vulpin. This is probably one of the easiest bosses in the entire game if you actually know the mechanics, which I'm pretty sure most of you do. What makes this boss much more easy is if you know the actual timers on different mechanics. Like for example, if you know how long it takes for the arrows of the dodgeball to start flying out. If you know this, you can actually finish a cast before moving. If you know its range, you can easily just dodge it as well, right? Boss is dead. I dealt decent damage. I could have dealt much more, but I'm not gonna lie to you here. The Psychic Link build, once more, came to my disadvantage here, really. Now for this next trash pack, you will most likely not want to use cooldowns, because this next trash pack is ideally going to be consisting of 3 ads, unless you pull more. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to pull these first 3 ads. The tank is going to run further out, and the tank is going to be pulling the next ones as well. You're going to see the tank stealthing here, running past these ads right here. He's going to be pulling the next set of ads while the warrior decides to eat up here. I could have ate here as well, but I wasn't sure how fast the tank's going to be. He's going to be pulling these, and we're going to be doing a big boy pull here, okay? So I'm going to dot all of these up, of course. Getting ready by void torrenting, because I know these other ads are going to be coming in. I'm going to go ahead and dot up everything here as good as I can. Void erupt, and let Psychic Link do the damage for me as good as it can. Again though, this is absolutely not an ideal Psychic Link pull. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't have to show you. All you have to do is look at the damage meter. This is most certainly not a pull where Psychic Link is effective, right? Psychic Link is going to be effective again at the last boss, which is where it's actually really strong, because you can effectively nuke down the ads by yourself. All you need to do is you need to dot up the ads, and then you just Mind Blast. So as you can see, again, not a decent pull for Psychic Link. Pretty much the rest of all of these pulls is terrible for Psychic Link. I would have been 100 times better off using Searing Nightmare, but I decided to do a bit of learning by doing. That way I can make the mistakes and you guys don't have to, right? I'll go ahead and use my Mind Blast proc here. I'm going to use the next Mind Blast proc as well. I have no choice but the Void Torrent here. I have nothing ready. I'm actually below the tank. Again, the Psychic Link damage is just way too weak here to do anything that's actually relevant. I can dispel this. I actually don't know why I waited so long, but I did dispel after I got the channel through, and I continue going here. Another Mind Blast proc, wonderful. And we have the Prideful spawn here. As you know, of course, single target is really bad for Psychic Link, so I'm basically playing with one less talent. Now this is the second to last Prideful. What this means is that we will be getting one more Prideful before, or actually after we pull the boss. We decide to do it after the boss because we will be low on time. As many of you will already see, we are actually already comparatively low on time because we have another Prideful and we have quite a bit of trash left actually, and the boss. So the reason we decided doing the Prideful after the boss was because we knew for a fact that the boss would easily die. Doesn't matter if the boss has a Prideful or not. The boss is in and of itself entirely free and basically super easy. So having a Prideful for the boss is really not that relevant, right? So we decided to do the Prideful after the boss, just to finish it off. What this also means is that we can skip the Prideful, because the Prideful, that next Prideful buff, will be applied at the end of the dungeon, which means that the dungeon is already over, right? If the Prideful is the last thing that's missing in the entire dungeon, you don't have to play it, because you're basically done. So we decided to just skip the Prideful by going to be playing the boss here, as you will be able to tell. We play this as good as we can here. Again, terrible pull for Psychic Link. I try to make the best of it. I do a decent amount of damage, but definitely not enough to justify bringing Psychic Link in any way, shape, or form, at least not for this dungeon. Psychic Link is good on dungeons where you can actually use it efficiently, right? Dungeons like the Theater of Pain, dungeons like Spires of Ascension, that's where Psychic Link is good. Psychic Link can be good in Mists of Tirna Scithe, but not with these big pulls here. I may actually upload another Mists of Tirna Scithe pull, or rather run, which was a plus 18 or plus 19 I believe, where I actually run Searing Nightmare, and you will see a huge difference in damage. You will see this very specifically at the end, but you should either way be seeing this once I upload my Halls of Atonement run, either way, because there I am actually using Searing Nightmare and things are going much, much better. Right, I have no choice but to dodge here, have to cancel my Void Torrent early, and continue playing here. I'm going to get this Mind Blast in, Void Bolt, Devouring Plague, and I'm going to get this next Mind Blast in as well, and Void Bolt, Mind Blast. I'm going to go ahead and Fey Guardians here, because I want that Void form to be ready again as quickly as possible. Easy pull here pretty much. So we are actually going to get the Prideful to spawn. So I was actually wrong. I was actually pretty sure that this was the dungeon where we decided not to get the Prideful to spawn. And we did it at the end, but I mean, as you can clearly see, we did have a lot of time left and we did decide to do this. What you can do here though, again, because that's what we do if we're short on time, we skip the Prideful buff here and we do it at the end. Right, so obviously here I was actually mistaken. We do the Prideful before and we keep going. Holy Paladin dies here. He is gonna get battle res though. I die as well. I'm gonna just stay dead. There's no point getting up here because of course if I release I would not get the Prideful buff. We have loads of time left here, so we might as well just go ahead and do this. I'm gonna get rest here and we immediately pull. There's no real reason to wait. I go ahead and I use my potion. I Void Torrent. I need to reapply stamina here. Fey Guardians, Void Eruption, and we pretty much go to town. Now, I actually can't remember how much damage the other DPS did to the maggots or to the little ads that spawn. So I actually don't know how good Psychic Link's gonna be on this pull. But again, as I had mentioned before, typically Psychic Link for this boss is quite decent because the ads just immediately die. All you basically have to do is dot them up all once, and then you just Mind Blast. And you will legitimately see their health drop by like a quarter whenever you actually Mind Blast. After move here, I'm dotting up, I'm gonna Devouring Plague, Mind Blast, and they're pretty much dead, right? Not that much more to do. Run out, reapply dots, dodge here. Very unfortunate because the dodging forced me not to get the Mind Blast into the void, into the Talbot's window. But, I mean, it is what it is, right? I Void Torrent here, I Mind Blast again. I have more ads spawning, this is wonderful. I dot them up, move towards the center of the room to get them all in range. I reapply dots here as well. Mind Blast, I Void Erupt, and I double Mind Blast immediately because I want the ads to die. That's the only reason why I decided not to Void Bolt and immediately Mind Blasted. As you can tell though, at least from the damage, it's actually quite worth it. Because the ads are dead, we can now just focus the boss. I'm not even really going to do anything here, I'm just going to Void Torrent. There's no reason to press any other button, because the key is now completed. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, these types of videos perhaps in the future. If so, please be sure to let me know in the comment section down below, and I will continue doing them, of course, for the future. Now, apart from that, a special thanks as always to all of my supporters over on Patreon, as well as all of my donations and subs over on Twitch. You guys are awesome, and if you'd like to see more of my content in the future, please be sure to subscribe and of course like this video. Now, as always my friends, have a good one, get excited for patch 9.0.5, and I will see you all in the next one.